Hello there, my name is Hubert Ward and this is the first video to accompany my book Understanding C Code for the PIC Micro 18F4525. In this video we're going to show you how to create a project within MPLABX, the IDE software for programming PIC micros. I use version 2.2 because the later versions don't include all the libraries that I like to use. However, creating a project inside this version 2.2 is more or less the same as creating a project in the later versions. So if you follow the same instructions, you should be able to create a project inside MPLABX IDE with any version that you use. So we'll start off by clicking on the icon to open up the software. MPLABX is the industrial IDE for programming these industrial PIC micros. So really, if you're going to program PIC micros, I would suggest that you do use this MPLABX IDE. It is totally free. You don't have to pay for the compiler software or whatever. You can pay for the compiler software and that will make your coding more efficient. But really, for everything that most hobbyists want to do, you can get away without buying the more expensive compiler software, and so it's all totally free to you. The windows that we've got, these can be moved about. I'm not going to move them really to show you. You can make them bigger and smaller and move them. But really there's so many variations with these screens that you can move. It's best to just practice yourself and learn them. All I want to try and show you here is how to create a project for storing all your program files for your PIC micro. So there are two options. You can click on the orange square with the green cross on here, or you can go File and New Project. Either one will do the same thing. I just tend to use the orange square. So once you've clicked on it, the opening window says what type of project do you want to create, and mostly will be microchip embodied standalone projects. So click Next. Now you're going to be asked to choose which actual PIC you're going to program. There are hundreds of different PICs from microchip, all for different reasons. Basically though, once you've learned to program one PIC, there's not much change to move on to programming other PICs, apart from maybe understanding the datasheet a bit more. The one we're going to use is one of the advanced 8-bit microchip processors. It's a 40-pin device, which makes it useful for creating your projects. You don't have to use a surface mount device, which is a little bit more difficult. And it's a very versatile PIC, so you can do an awful lot with this PIC. So what we do, open up a little window and pick Advanced 8-bit MCUs. Here again in the next window, what particular device is it? You can scroll down to find it, or you can start to type in PIC 18F, and you can see now the windows showing you the PIC 18Fs, then the 4, that's the 4525. So let's say you can either type it in or scroll down and find the 4525, click it to make it go in, select it, and once you're happy now that you've got the actual PIC that you want to use, click Next. In this window you can choose the tool that you want to program the PIC with. That means take the program from within the ID and download it to your PIC. I tend to use the ICD3CAN. It's quite a versatile and robust programming tool, but you can use a PIC-Kit 3, which is slightly cheaper. However, the MPLABX IDE does have its own simulator for these PIC micros. So really you can write your program and test your program without buying anything at all really. So to do that we'll use a simulator, and that's what we're going to check. We're going to select for this one. So click on Simulator, then click on Next. So this window now, you have to choose the software that you're going to use to convert your program in C into the actual ones and noughts that the PIC micro understands. That's called a compiler software. The MPLABX is for assembler programs. Now, I used to write a lot of programs in assembler, and that's the closest you get to what we used to call machine code. However, we're writing a program in C, so we're going to use a C compiler. Again, I use version 1.35. These versions are slightly older, the 2.2 for the MPLABX and the 1.35 are for the x88 compiler. These can be found in the archive section of the microchip website. I suggest you do use these because then I know everything that you go through on the book will be able to run. Like I say, some of the later versions of the MPLABX do not include some of the libraries that we will be using. However, assuming that you're quite happy to use these two versions, click on x88 1.35 and click next. Now you have to give your project a name and store it somewhere. So I'm going to call it, as I do in my book, my first 18F, and what I'll do is store it on the root, the C drive root. So find the C drive, and that should be okay. Just check that I've not already got one. No. So that's where I'm going to store it. So once I'm happy in where I'm going to store it, you'll see now the location is the C drive, and it's already created a directory. So what you're actually doing now is creating a directory on the C drive, and inside this directory all the files for your program or your project will be stored. So now once you're happy that you've got a good name for it and you know where you're storing it, because you've got to find it again yourself sometimes, click finish. Okay, now that says some of these windows you don't really need, so you can close them if they appear. I don't really need these two windows, so I'll close them now. This is the main window that you want where your projects are stored. And again, if you hover over my first, it'll tell you where it's stored. C drive, not the root drive. It tells you where it is basically. Now we're going to include different files in for our projects. The main file we need to include is the actual program file itself, and that's what they call a source file. So to do that, we'll right click on the source file and select new. Now you can click C main file if you like, because we are going to create a C main file, but if you do that it tends to put things in automatically. The MPLABX tends to put things in automatically that you may not or may want. So I tend to click an empty file. The trouble with this, of course, is now you've got to tell it what type of file it is. So again, I'll use the same name that's in the book, my first 18F prog.c. That's the only problem with using the empty file. You've got to tell it it's a C file. If you don't put anything in, no dot extension, if you don't put that .c in, then what it creates is a text file, which is not the type of file that you need. So you must put .c. It's your preference. You can, like I say, select. I'll just go back and show you that. Yeah, so I'll just go back and show you that. Right click again on the source file, click on new. You could choose a C main file if you like, and it means you don't need to put that .c in. The .c is already there. But if you do that, you'll see that the things are automatically put into the file that you've not written. So why? So like I say, I tend to keep control of everything that I do, and therefore I will pick empty file. and like I say, call it my first 18F prog, but you must put that .c in. Okay, and click finish. So now you've got your editing screen here now, as well as the project screen, and these are things that we'll look at later, these windows down here. So this is the main window. I'll close this video now at that point, because all I want to do was to show you how to go about creating a project within MPLABX. We'll move on with the second video to insert some programming text inside this window. Thank you for watching, and I hope you find the book and the videos useful.